Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Adam Smith. Today we're rolling through Bloodborne, the board game from CMON Games. We're going to continue our campaign play as I've already gone through the Long Hunt campaign and completed it. If you want to find that campaign, I'll have it in the top right hand corner along with all my other Bloodborne content. But in this one, we're going to dive into a brand new campaign from the core game called Growing Madness. On page 7 of the rulebook, you'll find the campaigns listed out. We've completed the Long Hunt together. Growing Madness is up next. A frenzy has begun to overtake the city. Worse, it appears the hunters are not immune to this madness. After that is Secrets of the Church and Fall of Old Yharnam, which will complete the 4 campaigns in the core experience. Now, if you're a YouTube member of the channel, you've already gotten early access to Bloodborne plays, and you've actually seen me take an attempt on Growing Madness already. So let's head into the Growing Madness campaign. Right now, we'll just finish up a couple setup steps and we'll be ready to go right into round number 1. Here on the Growing Madness Chapter 1 setup card, I've already done all the enemy setup as well as the tiles setup, so that's ready to go. You'll see each of the enemies that we have and the corresponding icon they're tied to. You can also see all the cards available in the Hunter's Dream, and we've got the marker for the hunt track in the bottom left. As we flip that card to the opposite side, it tells us to start the hunt, revealing card number 1, which I'll do in just a moment, but it also tells us when the hunt track reaches the first reset space, the first red space right here. We're going to mark this with an insight token to remind us of this. We're going to reveal card number 6 if we happen to find the occupied house, or we find the Odin Chapel and we end a move on either of them. We have cards to reveal for either case. Sounds good to me. Let's check out the Growing Madness introduction and card number 1. Growing Madness. This night, a grand hunt has been called. Hunter and townsfolk alike have taken to the streets to join in the Great Purging. Among them, the renowned hunter Father Gascon has joined you in your task. Yet something about this hunt feels different. The scent of blood is heavy in the air. From above, the rays of the blood moon bathe the streets in crimson red. All the while, an unnerving feeling lies just below the surface, as if something terrible is waiting to be unleashed. Revealing card number 1 gives us the hunt mission. On the hunt is what it's called. Gascon steps forward, taking the lead. He lifts his head. Tonight there is something different in the air. Let there be no doubt. If it moves, you can be sure it's a beast, and even if it doesn't, well, don't take any chances. Now we hunt. I now place 1 insight token for every hunter in the game, which is the icon you can see there, plus 2, so a total of 3 insight tokens on this card. We're going to place the Father miniature on the central lamp space. Father Gascon is going to join me in the center space of the central lamp tile. Again, worth mentioning, I can choose which space of this tile I want to start in, and of course that would mean he can also start in the same space as me as well. It mentions on the card when a hunter moves out of his space, Gascon can be moved with him. After a hunter in his space attacks, deal that enemy an additional damage. No one gains a blood echo if this slays the enemy. So that's a key thing to remember. If Gascon happens to throw a damage that kills something, we don't get a blood echo from that particular situation. All of the times we would. Each time an enemy is slain in his space, you remove 1 token. And it says at the bottom, when this card has no remaining tokens, we reveal the next card, number 2. So at this point, we're ready to rock and go into round number 1. And of course, to start things off, we need to drop some cards. So I'll be drawing 3 cards for my hunter, and we'll see what we have to work with. We're starting off with the very first card off the top of the deck. It is going to be a basic dodge. Next one is a basic 1 damage. And the next one after that, a basic stagger. A little bit of everything going on there. I'm going to use my basic stagger as a move, giving me 2 movement points. I'm going to bring Father Gascon with me. We're going to head off to the west 2 positions to get us into a new tile. We ended up finding a random tile, so not something we were truly looking for, but at least there is a consumable there we can potentially pick up through an item. And we do have an enemy. It's going to be a church servant. And we do have 1 movement remaining, and I'll use that movement to move into the space. So now we're inside of a space with a consumable. Now, if I choose not to go ahead right now and go after the enemy, then when the enemy activates, it is going to move towards me. And of course, that's going to result in it attacking me. So long as I have the ability to dodge it, then that's okay. And I do have a dodge card here. So I think it makes sense to maybe go after the consumable. We'll spend 1 card right now to take it and see what we get. So we'll go ahead and remove the miniature off the board because we can only do this once in that space at this point in time until a reset happens and it comes back. Consumable off the top of the deck is going to be a blood cocktail. Hunter turn, 1 non-boss enemy within 2 spaces does not activate. Now, the main reason I don't want to use this right now is because my hunter has a really cool ability. It says each time you clear a slot, you get to deal a damage to 1 enemy in your space. So I almost want this enemy to activate, come into my space, so I can actually dodge it and clear the slot, allowing me to put a damage on it for free, rather than go ahead and use that cocktail right now to stop it from moving. We might be able to use that later on in a better way. Now, I know earlier I mentioned that I'd show you the Church Servant card. Here's what it looks like. It's got a basic Cane Strike, a special Arcane Explosion, and a Horrific Vision for its ability. Kind of terrifying all the way across, and it does some decent damage. So I'm going to end off my turn right there, and into the enemy activation we go, and the enemy is in the same tile as us, so it's certainly going to activate along with any enemies that be in adjacent tiles, which is orthogonally from us. At this point in time, it is moving into the same spaces, and after its move, if there is a hunter in the same space, it's going to attack. Certainly is, and so we're going to go ahead and deal with that, and I've got a dodge. Now, before we reveal this enemy action card, I'm choosing not to attack. I could absolutely attack if I want to, if I use my dodge card as an attack in a slot, but I'm holding off on it because I want to dodge whatever's coming at me from the enemy. So here we go. What is the enemy going to do to me? It's going to be a basic attack. So that's going to be a Cane Strike right here, which is going to end up coming at me at a medium speed, 3 damage, which is pretty nasty, but I do have a pistol that I could literally use to stagger the enemy, but there's no point in using the pistol when I've got the dodge card. For the dodge to be effective, it needs to be at the same speed as the enemy attack or faster. So in this case, I can easily pull that off with any of the 3 slots I have available. So we'll place the dodge in this slot, which means it'll be coming at the enemy at a fast speed, easily enough to dodge, so we definitely do. We also get to clear the slot, so this card is going to clear immediately after dodging the enemy's attack, which now does nothing to me. And as it mentions right here, each time you clear a slot, you deal a damage to the enemy in your space. A perfect use of the Hunter's ability, so we'll throw 1 damage on that enemy. This enemy has 4 HP, so we need 3 more to take it down, and it's worth mentioning because I did not go ahead and attack, because I didn't slot a card in to do an attack, I dodged, that Father Gascon is not going to do an attack for me and throw damage against this enemy. We also have to be aware of the fact that it's going to do that 1 damage after my attack happens, if I choose to attack in a scenario, and when it does, if it actually is the point of damage that kills the enemy, we don't get a Blood Echo in that case. And then, my friends, our first round of play, we're moving on to round number 2. Well, let's see what kind of cards we're getting off the top of the deck for this turn. We got ourselves a basic Stagger, we have another basic Stagger, and finally a basic Dodge. It makes sense to go right after the Church Servant. We're going to go ahead and use a Stagger basic card in one of my slots. Now, to strategically make sure we get a Blood Echo out of this so Father Gascon doesn't steal it away from us, we're going to go ahead and use a basic Stagger right now in this slash one. So it's a medium attack, 2 damage, and we're throwing Stagger at the enemy. Now, the enemy over here, what are they doing back to us? They're coming at us with a special. That doesn't sound fun. Ooh, it's not good at all. It's going to be slow, though, so that's good news for our Stagger, and it has 3 damage attached. It would have had stun, cannot be dodged. And wow, targets all hunters in this space. So that worked out really nicely. The Stagger will certainly handle the enemy's attack based on the speeds, but it is worth mentioning right now we do have the choice to dodge if we want to as well. So just because you know you're going to Stagger doesn't mean you cannot do a dodge in the dodge step of the combat resolve. And I want to do a dodge step because by dodging the entire attack instead of just staggering it, even though it does the same thing in essence, it's going to allow me to get an additional damage thanks to the makeup of this hunter. So I know I've got 2 damage coming from my attack, but I want to make it 3, so I'm going to go ahead and dodge, which essentially is kind of overkill in terms of defense, but it allows me to get an advantage on offense, so it makes sense to do so. So we're going to dodge the entire attack, so now the Stagger doesn't even matter, and this is going to get cleared right away, which places a damage on the enemy. So 1 coming from the dodge clearing of the slot, 2 coming from the attack itself, and nothing coming back at me from the special because we were able to dodge it completely. We have taken down the Church Servant. The dodge I cleared is in my discard pile, and we also gain a Blood Echo as I actually did all the work in killing that thing, and the Father didn't even have to step in and throw that damage. I'm going to choose to use my final card here in order to move, but I'm only going to move 1 spot. I'm just going to move from here to here, so I have the ability to go to 2 different locations in the future versus just the one we're connected to right now. I am not going to go any further and reveal any more tiles, even though I have the movement to do so, because I do not want to get in a situation where there's enemies right there ready to attack me. So that's going to be my turn all complete, and there's no enemies to activate. And we'll head into round number 2. All right, from the top of the deck, let's see what we have. We have a basic draw 1, love those. Oh wow, 2 of them back to back, and a basic with a +1 damage. Let's go ahead and use one of those draw 1 basic cards in order to get some movement. 2 move will allow me to go into either the north position here, or we could head over here. We could even move back and go through here, but let's just head north and have that extra move once we go there. And it appears we found the graveyard tile, which doesn't have any cards to reveal if we end a move in it, but it is certainly one of the special tiles. Inside the graveyard is another Church Servant and another consumable in the center area. We've got 2 cards left. Let's be aggressive and use our final point of movement to get into the same space as the Church Servant. I've got 2 cards remaining. We use one of them to do an attack. So what I think I'll do this time is I'll go ahead and actually use a basic +1 damage. We're going to place it in the / medium speed, which is going to be a total of 3. Now, I know full well I don't have any cards at the moment that will allow me to clear a slot. I could have used a draw 1 in here, but that only gave me 2 damage, and then I could hope to get a third off a draw, but that doesn't make much sense. So in either case, Father Gascon is likely going to help us out, and that's okay, because right now 2 + 1 is 3, and if the Father comes in afterwards with its attack, that's going to be 4, and that will deal with the enemy. Let's find out what this thing is throwing at us for its attack. It's got itself a basic. All right, so we do have the ability to use our pistol here if we want to avoid it. The basic is coming at the exact same speed as what we're attacking at. We don't have any ability to dodge it at the moment, so maybe the pistol makes sense unless we want to take 3 damage, which I really don't want to do. So let's go ahead and do exactly that. We'll use our pistol here, which states right on it, when an enemy makes a basic attack, automatically stagger that enemy. So we'll go ahead and flip it over. So that is going to add the stagger trait to the scenario. And now we're doing 3 damage to the enemy. The Father's going to do the final one, killing this enemy, but we do not gain a Blood Echo. Now I've got one final card remaining in my hand. Let's go ahead and use it, discarding it in order to pick up the consumable there. We found ourselves a sedative on the Hunter turn. Draw 1 card and remove 1 Frenzy. That's going to do it for my turn, and no enemies to activate. Heading into round number 3, you'll see we are now 1 step away from that insight token and revealing card number 6. Let's see what 3 cards we got off the top of the deck. They're the final ones in my deck: a basic +1 damage, a dodge, this is a good combination if there was an enemy, and a basic draw 1. On this turn, I'm going to use my draw 1 basic in order to get some movement, and that's going to allow me to go straight through into this tile here. I could go north, I could go west. The reason I'm going east is I want to be interested in locations around the central lamp tile, so if I come back from the Hunter's Dream, I don't have to move that far to get back to things. And it appears we have found the chapel, so as we reveal this tile, we move into it. I have 1 more movement remaining. So I need to decide if I want to use that movement before I go ahead and reveal the card. I'm going to choose to move into the same space as this lamp icon right here. We ended a move inside the chapel, so we're revealing card 14. Now, I know this in my mind. I need to kill 3 individuals while Father Gascon is in the same space, but I have not removed the insight tokens for the 2 I've killed. So to be correct, each of these tokens, the 2 of them should be gone for the 2 we've killed when Father Gascon was in the same space as it says at the bottom of the card. No major gameplay impact, as the next one will actually have a trigger for a revealing of card number 2. But let's get back to the chapel. We found the campaign's very first insight mission, Eileen the Crow. It says, "Oh, a hunter, what a mess you've been caught up in, and tonight of all nights, I am Eileen, a fellow hunter of sorts. You've seen the madness that has gripped those out this night, haven't you? They cannot be saved, so that leaves just the one option, and the reason why I'm here, but you seem to still have your wits about you. Why don't you show me just what you can do?" I now have to place an insight token for every hunter in the game, so 1 + 2, so a total of 3 on this card. And while on the chapel tile, hunters may discard their held blood echoes. For each one discarded, remove 1 token from this card. We do have 1 already. All right, so the question is, do I want to use my Blood Echo that I have right now in order to remove one of those insight tokens on the insight mission? I don't have to use them right away. I could potentially hold them. I could even go to the Hunter's Dream and spend the Blood Echo and come back out looking to find more to then complete the insight mission. It's a fun balance of, like, do I build up my deck to prepare for later, or do I actually start progressing towards the insight mission completion? It's a tough call because it's kind of stunting your ability to build out your deck, which normally isn't an issue. I think in this situation, it pays to be a little bit more proactive and try to explore more, even though I only have 2 cards left, because I do have that pungent blood cocktail I could use up to 2 spaces away to have an enemy that's not a boss not activate. So if I see something nasty and I don't want to have to deal with it right away because I've run low on cards, I could use that. So I moved the insight mission for a moment because I'm thinking about heading off this way. But the other thing to think about with 2 cards remaining is, do I want to clear up my trick weapon? 2 of the 3 slots are filled, which is not necessarily great because, yes, I can attack, but I won't be able to dodge at all if I happen to use that or card that I actually have in hand or in the future as well. So do I want to kind of refresh my trick weapon and then maybe go explore and then use the pungent blood cocktail to stop any enemies from coming at me, or a enemy from coming at me? That might be the best call to kind of continue progressing and not waste time. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead, doesn't matter because I'm going to be using 1 for movement and 1 to refresh my trick weapon. So we'll go ahead and toss the dodge card here, and that's going to allow us to clear this completely and flip it over to the opposite side, giving us a completely different ability for her and something else to work with. And this is actually very different on the opposite side, as you can see. This weapon's very cool in that after attacking with a combo slash, you can transform the weapon for free. So essentially you could attack very slow for large damage, then use the combo slash and be able to transform for free without having to burn a card. All right, so let's go ahead and use my final card here for some movement, 2 movement, and we're going to head this way. So we're going to go 1, I guess we're going to be crossing from technically here to here, and we're going to be bringing Father along with us, and we'll be heading with our final movement into a newly revealed tile. And as you can see, we have found the occupied house, and that's going to be the end of our movement, but we have to spawn what's in here as well. So the hunter mob is going to be the one that's spawning in this location, but now we can reveal the card specific to the chapter for this tile. We got our second insight mission. This one's called Supplies for the Night. Oh, you must be a hunter. Must have had a time of it. Was out on the hunt myself, but now I don't think I could stand it if I wanted to. Say, you wouldn't be willing to help a fellow Yarmanite out, would you? I can even make it worth your while. I just need some supplies to last me through the night. That's all. 1 insight token is placed for every hunter, plus another one for a total of 2 on the card. Hunters ending a move on the occupied house space can discard any number of their held consumables, and for each one discarded, remove a token from the card. Well, that makes things really difficult now because I got 2 cards in hand. I really want to use them in order to discard to be able to complete the insight mission, but at the same time, I kind of need one to avoid being hit by the hunter mob. I think it makes sense to be wise here and actually use the Punch and Blood cocktail to stop from being hit, because what I'm noticing here with my trick weapon is even if I want to use the really heavy overhead slam at 4 damage, it's very slow, which means we're going to have to sustain probably at least 1 hit from the enemy. And if I don't get a dodge card, which I have no idea if that will happen, I could have myself in a bad situation if I've already taken a bunch of hits prior. So let's go ahead and use this, unfortunately, right now in order to have 1 non-boss enemy within 2 spaces not activating. So we're moving on to the next round of play, and that's going to have this token landing right here where there's a reset, and when there's a reset, no matter what's going on, even if there's an insight token here, the reset takes precedence, so we're going to do that first, and then we'll go ahead and reveal card 6, as it says for the chapter. Non-boss enemies leave the map, so the hunter mob that's in the same space as me would normally leave, but I know it's coming right back in a second anyway. All the consumables are replenished, non-boss enemies spawn back at their icons, which is why that hunter mob stayed exactly where it is. Now we're going to resolve the trigger for landing the hunt track on the insight token, which reveals card number 6, a new insight mission called Innocent Bystanders. It says the night of the hunt is dangerous for any wandering the streets of Yharnam, for even those free of the beast plague may become a target for not only the ravenous beast, but also the mobs of townsfolk so eager to partake in the hunt. We're told to reveal card number 7. We're definitely getting ourselves a mob. It's going to be a frenzied one. It says place 1 insight token on this card. If there's 3 or more hunters, you place an additional one. That's not the case, so just 1 insight token will be placed. And then it says when the hunter mob would be slain, instead remove 1 token and heal all damage from it. So essentially this hunter mob will have double the amount of life as normal. Hunter mobs are normally 4 HP. It's going to have 8 HP essentially. Tokens are returned on a reset, and you replace its basic that it has on its card with the basic shown here, Reckless Anger. Now, the insight mission itself tells us next, after revealing card number 7, to spawn a hunter mob on the central lamp space. So I've done this, and it cannot move from this space. We also place a survivor token on the central lamp space. And on a reset, if no hunter is on this space, remove this token and discard this mission. It cannot be completed. So we have a limited window to make this happen, and we could also extend it so long as we're in the same space as the mob. I've got a number of things to keep my eyes on here. 3 insight missions and the main hunt mission. Now, I just need to get 1 more kill to progress the main hunt mission, and that can happen as I've got a mob in my space right now. Let's go ahead and drop 3 cards and see what we have. And I had to reshuffle the deck because we are completely out. Basic stagger and a basic stagger, and oh my gosh, all 3 basic stagger cards. That's pretty crazy. I don't think that's ever happened before. Well, let's go after this hunter mob, which is not a frenzied one, in my space. We're going to go ahead and use a basic stagger. Placing it in the overhead slam position for 4 damage, but it's a very slow speed. So the stagger in that slot will be pretty much useless because there's nothing speed-wise below slow. Let's go ahead and see what the enemy is up to. A special. And the special in this case is a rifle shot for the hunter mob, 4 damage at a slow speed, which matches the same speed we're attacking at, and it has stun. So here's all these attacks at the same time. So I'm taking 4 damage, and the stun tells me I have to discard a card or I take an additional damage. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Discarding this card, it prevents me from taking an additional damage, which would have been 5, which would have been pretty nasty. But now 4 damage for my overhead slam will kill the hunter mob. This is good for 2 reasons, because I did all the damage to the hunter mob, and so because of this, I also get a blood echo. And because I killed this thing in the same space as Father Gascon, that allows me to get rid of the insight token on the hunt mission. So he's slain the third and final enemy we need to progress this. It tells us when the card has no remaining tokens, reveal card number 2. Gascon's blows strike down his latest foe, but he does not stop. He rears back, bringing his mighty axe down again and again, blood splattering as he chops away. Suddenly, the bells of the Grand Cathedral far across the Great Bridge begin to chime. Gascon stops, drawn by their sound. More beasts? Can't you smell them? So many this night, so many left to kill. With this, he silently turns and departs. At this time, Father Gascon is removed from the map. And the new main hunt mission goal says when a hunter ends a move on the Great Bridge after collecting at least 2 insight, we can reveal card number 3. We have 3 insight missions to go after right now, so we are certainly well on our way. Now, I'm a tad concerned because my health is so low and I'd love to go back to the Hunter's Dream, but if I do that with Blood Echoes, I have to use them in order to take upgrades, and I want to use them at the chapel as I've got 2 out of the 3 I need to get that insight mission completed. So maybe what we'll do is spend the final card here for 2 movement points to go from here, 1 and then 2. I guess it doesn't matter anywhere inside of this tile as long as we're in the chapel. We're able to remove Blood Echoes in order to take away insight tokens from way up there. But I want to also be in a position where I can attack in the future. So maybe we'll take a risk and kind of head into here. So we'll go 1, 2. We're not going all the way through. We're just going to stop right there after 2 movement. We're going to go ahead and take the 2 Blood Echoes that I have here, cashing them in immediately to knock off 2 insight from this mission, and we're that much closer to completing it. This, of course, also ensures that if I happen to die in the near future because I have such low health, that I'm not going to lose the Blood Echoes that I have. I'm going to make one quick change, and that's to positionally move myself back a space. In other words, I'm only going to use 1 of the 2 movement that I needed in order to get into this chapel area because I don't want to be so close to the enemies when they activate, which is happening right now. Now, normally the hunter mobs would activate first based on a left to right across the dashboard where the enemy cards are, but this hunter mob states on its insight mission it will not be moving from this space. So the only one that's going to actually move is got to be orthogonally adjacent, and that's going to be the one that I just moved into the chapel. And that's another round in the books. All right, so what I'm focused on now is getting 1 more Blood Echo to be able to complete the insight mission for Eileen the Crow, which would be perfect. Let's go ahead and see what we get. We got a basic +1 damage. Love seeing that. Another one of those, and finally a basic draw 1. All right, so the good news here is with the enemy inside the chapel, there's an effect that's occurring, and it says enemy attacks will suffer a -1 speed when on this tile. So in other words, the attacks of this enemy will be a bit slower, a little bit easier to stagger or dodge, which is good to know, and that also gives me the opportunity to potentially attack first before they do. But at this point in time, the question is, do I run in there? Do I do anything with my trick weapon? My trick weapon has a combo slash 2 damage open, and I could use a basic inside of it for 3, but that wouldn't be enough to kill it. So the question might more so be, do I use my basic draw 1 to do the combo slash 2 damage, draw another card up, hope it's something useful on the defensive side because I don't currently have anything for that, and then I get a free transform of the weapon because the combo slash allows for that. I wouldn't be able to kill this thing, but I'd be able to position myself to have more slots available for the next attack. Let's give it a shot. I'm not sure if it's going to work out the way I'm hoping it's going to work out. We're going to use 1 card right now, discarding it for movement to get in the same space as the enemy. I'm going to use my draw 1 basic card, putting in the combo slash position for 2 damage hit, and also a draw 1, which happens right now. So we'll draw that up, and we got ourselves another basic draw 1. I really wanted to dodge there, but it didn't pan out, which is a-okay. I can still refresh my weapon, which is great. So we're going to switch up our trick weapon to the opposite side, giving us slots to use, and we got that clear slot, deal 1 damage, now back in action. All right, so it's a 2 damage medium speed attack I'm throwing at the enemy, and the enemy is going to be doing a basic attack, and this is a church servant, so it's going to be a medium speed, but it's -1 because this enemy is inside the chapel, so it's actually a slow 3 damage attack. So I get to hit first, which is going to be 2 damage thrown on the church servant. We need 2 more in order to take it out, but it's now going to come back at me for 3, and that is going to be enough to knock me out. When you get slain from an enemy, you lose your Blood Echoes and also get sent to the Hunter's Dream. So good thing I was able to cash in the Blood Echoes earlier on the Insight mission to avoid losing them. The biggest con of being sent back to the Hunter's Dream in this situation is losing some time. So the hunt track is jumping up by 1. The benefit, though, is that we get to refresh our firearm, we get to reshuffle our deck, we also can choose which side of the trick weapon we want to be on, and we get to replenish our health. All right, so we're all squared away. At this point, we can bring ourselves back to one of the lanterns in the world. And I am certainly going to choose to drop myself right back into the chapel where we have an injured church servant I'm going to be going after to try to get a Blood Echo off. And we're ready for the next round, so we'll move ourselves up the track here and see if we can take down that church servant. Let's drop some cards and see what we get for options here. We got a basic +1 damage, we have a basic draw 1, and finally a basic draw 1. So I'll spend one of the basic draw 1s to get some movement, and we'll get right into the same space as the church servant and go after it. Now I'm going to use the chapel's -1 movement speed for the enemy to my advantage, so I don't have to just go after the quick stab here by using my +1 basic to get 2 damage. I can go this route using this card here, a draw 1 in the slash position, going a medium speed, knowing that the chapel will knock down the speed of the enemy. Allows me to also draw a card right now and hopefully get something good. We got another +1 damage. I was really hoping for a dodge. Now, there's only one card left in the enemy action deck, so we know exactly what it's going to do. It's going to pull its ability on us, because that's the only one it has not done yet. And it states right here, at a slow speed, before the hunter's attack, again, if the hunter's actually attacking at a slow speed, move the hunter mob 1 space away. All hunters in the space left must then dodge at a medium speed or suffer 3 damage. Of course, they're throwing a Molotov at us at that point. But the great news is, because of the speed of our attack at a medium speed and the slow speed they're doing, we get our attack in beforehand, which is 2 damage, taking it out and gaining a Blood Echo. And what's awesome about that is the fact we are already in the location we need to be, and we can, for free, discard a Blood Echo in order to get rid of the final insight token for the Eileen the Crow insight mission. So as it states right on the card, complete the mission when this card has no remaining tokens, which is right now we're grabbing card 15. And we've got ourselves our first insight completion, and this is a proven hunter card. It says distribute 2 consumables and the messenger's gift reward among the hunters, so I'm taking all of those. And the 2 consumables we got are fire paper and antidote. This is a +1 damage on attack, and on the hunter turn you can draw a card and also remove what looks to be poison, if I'm not mistaken. And the final thing I've gained is the messenger's gift, which should come in handy. It says on the hunter turn, non-boss enemies do not activate after your turn. That is going to come in handy for sure. Now remember what we needed for the occupied house. We need to bring consumables back to that position and hand them over. And we've got more than enough at this point to make that happen. Now, it does state on the card for the Insight mission that we have to end a move on the occupied house space. Now, sometimes it'll tell you occupied house tile, which means you could end your move in any of the spaces on the tile. But in this case, it's specifically saying you have to actually be at the doorstep of the occupied house in order to give your consumables away. So I am burning both of my cards in order to get 4 movement, but I only need 3 to get to the door. And when I'm here, as it states right here, you can discard any number of your held consumables, and for each one, remove a token from the card. I'm going to keep the fire paper that does damage and get rid of the ones that are more conditional in terms of statuses. And that will complete that insight mission. And as it states right on the card, when the card has no remaining tokens on it, we reveal card number 12. The insight mission continues. It says supplies for the night. Splendid, splendid. This should be right enough to get me through this hunt. Now, as for your reward, don't think I forgot. It's just, well, I had to leave my tools escaping one of the beasts out near the old graveyard. I'm sure they'll still be out there, though. Probably. We complete this mission by interacting on the graveyard space, and then we can reveal card 13. So we have some traveling to do, and at this point, enemy activations would occur, but none are close enough to activate, so we skip right past that. And unfortunately, that's going to have us landing on a reset space for the next round. All non-boss enemies are removed from the map, and the consumables are now replenished, and also those non-boss enemies come back at their spawn locations. Now, as we learned earlier on reset, if no hunter is in the space with the mob, then we remove the token for the survivor. In other words, the innocent bystanders have been killed off by the mob. I wasn't able to save them. This mission is no longer possible. Overall, that's not terrible because we still have the insight mission we're working towards. We got to get back to that graveyard. Now, it's not all going to be easy as we have a hunter mob in our way. Let's draw our 3 cards and see what we can do. We got ourselves basic +1 damage. We have a basic draw 1, and lastly, a basic stagger. Now, taking a look through my discard pile here, I don't see any dodge cards, so that means that I've got a bunch in here still ready to pull out. So maybe if I use my draw 1, if I get into the same space as a hunter mob when I attack, I might get that dodge card. I could also go ahead and just use the basic stagger here, but then I'm more so pulling on the fact that I need to be at a faster pace than the enemy in order to stagger. That's a little bit worrisome based on my current loadout for my trick weapon. So, a couple different ways to go about this. Now, if I don't want to burn a lot of time, I could also use the fire paper in combination with a slash attack at 2 damage plus the 1 from basic, and that 4 alone would take out the hunter mob quite quickly. I could do that. That actually might not be a bad idea. Just trying to think whether or not I want to draw. And I do also want to make progress to get back over to the graveyard, but can I take out 2 mobs in 1 turn? Probably not. Regardless, I'm going to have to move, attack, and then move to at least get in position to get closer to the graveyard in the future. So maybe let's just focus on doing that and maybe getting into the actual chapel to a certain degree. So for now, what we'll do is we'll move. I'm going to go ahead and risk it here. I think what makes sense, being that I'm not going to attack, is I'll use this for my movement, I think. We'll be using this for movement, this for the attack, and this for movement later, I guess, is what we'll do. So we'll go like this, allowing me to move into this space with the enemy. And the second I'm in here with them, I'm going to go ahead and use this card here on the slash medium speed, I should say. And we're going to have to draw a card immediately up. And there we go. We got a dodge. The odds were actually with us. All right, we need to clean up this action draw deck for the enemies. We'll do a little quick shuffle here, and we'll pull the top one off and see what they're throwing at us. Very interested to see what kind of an ability the mob plans to chuck at us. Let's see from the very top. It is going to be a special. That's going to be a rifle shot, slow speed, 4 damage with stun. Now, my attack will be coming at a medium speed, so do I want to dodge right now? Probably not, because my damage is going to occur before his does. So what it states here is 2 damage on the resolve for medium. I also, on attack, can add a damage from the fire paper. And then on top of that, I guess I do need to dodge, even if I don't want to, just because I want to get the extra damage off of clearing the slot. So let's go ahead and dodge. Even though we don't need to, I can still do it if I want to. Putting it in my quick stab, which allows me to clear the slot, that's going to put 1 damage on the enemy. And the second I do this, it goes in the discard pile. We'll place a damage here. And now I resolve because I'm at a medium speed versus the slow speed of the enemy. So that's going to be 2 damage plus the fire paper used on attack consumed. That is going to be a total of 3 damage. So I slaughtered that hunter mob, which is great news, and I'll use the final card to start moving back this way. Now, I don't want to be too close to this enemy again because it'll try to move in towards me once I'm inside this tile. So let's just go ahead and use this in order to move 1 position only. Enemies are not going to activate. The only one that's going to activate is this one here, adjacent to me. It's going to head in, and we're heading into a brand new game round. We are definitely in the back half of the game. So what I'm aiming to do is to try to get to the graveyard, but I'm also trying to kill off some of these mobs because I do want to be able to get some level ups to my deck. I currently am still using all basic cards because I aggressively pushed for those first insight missions and made them my main focus, but I don't want to be underpowered for later in the game, so it's a fun balance right now. Let's go ahead and drop our 3 cards here and see if we can take down the mob here in front of us. We got a whole bunch of staggers here, and the final one is a dodge. Now, I know my trick weapon is a little bit off screen right now, but the only slot I have available is my quick stab, 1 damage. That's not very much. So let's be smart and get our trick weapon ready for what I want to do, as I don't have enough room on this side right now to work with. So we're going to go ahead and use one of my basic staggers in order to refresh this, flipping it over and switching it. So these are going to go into the discard pile. We'll flip this over to the opposite side, and that's going to give us our 4 damage attack, which is awesome. Now, here's my risk. I still need to move into the same spot as the enemy right now, so I could do this because I still have a card to make the move, then another one to make the 4 damage attack, but then not much on defense. The only defense I'd have is my pistol if it happens to pull a basic card. If it doesn't, then I have to just suffer whatever's thrown at me. I do have the Messenger's Gift here, which I could use to stop it from activating on its turn, though. So I'm essentially going to be using the dodge in order to get 2 movement. I'll use 1 movement to get in the same space as the enemy. We're making an attack, so I placed the stagger basic in the slow speed overhead slam for 4 damage. And let's see what the church servant is doing to us off the top of the deck. It is a basic. And that would normally be a medium speed attack, which would be before my attack, which means I would get hit. So let's absolutely go ahead right now and stagger that enemy automatically in advance. So we'll go ahead and do just that, because the stagger that is here is happening too slowly, whereas this is an automatic stagger, which means it's going to stagger whatever is going on. It's a basic attack. Ha, nice try. And then we're going to go ahead now and do our overhead slam for 4 damage, killing that church servant and also gaining another blood echo. So that worked out great. We still have our full health. We have a bunch of blood echoes, and we're also getting close to the graveyard. We're running out of cards, though, so we have to go to the end of the round. Enemies activate. There's none activate within range, so we're going to the next round. I still think we're in good position here, but time could get tight on us as we go into the next round. All right, we're going to go ahead and drop some cards. I currently have 1 to draw up, which is a basic dodge. We need to shuffle the deck to get the next 2. All right, the next 2 cards off the top of the deck, when they've been refreshed, is going to be a basic draw 1 and finally a basic dodge. Now, to complete the insight mission, which is right here, we have to not only get to the graveyard space, but also interact with the space. So we might as well interact with a space that has a consumable, because when you make an interact action, spending one card, you can do all the interactions that have to do with that space. So that includes grabbing the consumable, that includes completing the insight mission. It's still going to cost us 2 cards, though, because we need to move once just to get in there, and then we have to use another one in order to actually do the interaction. So 1 to get in, 1 to consume. So we'll go ahead and find out what consumable we're getting here. It is going to be a blue elixir. We can move 2. That's a perfect thing to get right now. We'll certainly make use of that in the future. And we can go ahead and resolve the insight mission. It says complete the mission by interacting on the graveyard space, reveal card 13. And we've done it. We completed the insight mission. Out on the hunt, distribute the hunter torch reward and the flame sprayer firearm among the hunters. They sound great. All right, so here's a flame sprayer, which we can choose to equip right now, and I'm going to because my current pistol is not refreshed at the moment. Now, I could refresh it by spending a Blood Echo or discarding a card. I just have not done that yet, but instead I'll just go ahead and equip this right now as we gained it, and the Hunter Torch is going to provide when a non-boss enemy moves into your space, that enemy stops 1 space away and suffers a damage. So this will help prevent unwanted attention and also damage at the same time. So let's go ahead and equip those new items. And we now have our 2 insight missions complete that we need to on the main hunt mission. Now, while that's really good, the hunt mission tells us when the hunter ends a move on the Great Bridge after collecting at least 2 insight, then we can progress. So we need to find the Great Bridge, which we haven't yet. I also would like to get back to the Hunter's Dream and spend some of my Blood Echoes because I need to upgrade my deck before we go into any more progress on this main hunt mission. There's a couple ways I could go about this. One is I could use this basic dodge right now and go ahead and discard it for 2 movement, get in the same space as this thing, not be able to attack, but then use the Messenger's Gift card I have to prevent it from activating this turn. And then the next turn I could attack it, kill it, and we could try to head to the Hunter's Dream. That could actually work out quite well, but as you know, that's going to take away about 2 to 3 turns from me just from all of that happening, leave me with very little at the end, and we haven't even found the Great Bridge in that case. Or I could choose right now with the final card to go back to the Hunter's Dream, and that would allow me to level up before we start trying to find the Great Bridge. But at the same time, again, time is ticking. It's a tough call. Now, before I make my big decision, I think it makes sense to use the move 2, the blue elixir, in order to try to find out if the next tile on the top of the deck is going to be the Great Bridge. Because if it is, that is going to shorten how much time I need to find that, and that means I might have time to go to the Hunter's Dream. So I'm going to go ahead and spend my move 2 elixir right now in order to pull the next one off the top. We're going to be moving off in this direction, or we could move off in that direction. I'll have to move some of the miniatures out of the way. But what's more important is what tile is on the top of this deck. It is, it's a random tile. Well, we know the last tile in the deck is going to be the Great Bridge. So in this case, we do have to move in. So we move in because we have to. We have one more move to make after that. We have to spawn what looks to be a hunter mob as well as a consumable here. And we do have the option if we want to actually move back out. We don't have to stay here because if I did and I wanted to use any more movement, I'd actually be heading towards the mob. So going in and then coming back out is going to cause a pursuit on the tile. So that hunter mob is going to move towards me. Now remember, I do have the torch, so if this enemy moves into my space, I can burn it essentially, do a damage to it, and push it out 1 space. So the question I'm asking myself right now is whether I use my final dodge card to go to the Hunter's Dream. I think I do. So into the Hunter's Dream we go. We're upticking the round track by 1. You can see how close we're getting towards the end. I've got 2 Blood Echoes to spend. I'm going to spend the very first one on Swift because my character doesn't have many really fast attacks. And I think that's going to come in handy with the cards that I have. Plus, this increases my speed and increases my damage. So I think this is a great card to get in. I'll tell you which card I'm taking out in just a moment from my deck. And the second one, well, we have to replenish here to see what other option might come out. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Oh, that makes it even tougher because I was originally thinking about the draw 1, cannot suffer frenzy, poison, stagger, or stun. But then at the same time, that hasn't happened to me too much. This is also kind of situational with a cheap shot because you can deal damage if the card's in your hand and you still have it in your hand when an ability gets pulled. That's kind of nice. And this is a really cool stagger. It basically pumps up the basic stagger that I have when I do an attack, but gives me an extra damage on top of it. But this, I think, is even better. So I'm actually going to go after both Swift cards. I just think these are the best for my deck. Let's go ahead and replenish this. And Counterstrike. Well, that's a really good one. To get the 2 Swift cards into my deck, I'm going to get rid of a basic stagger and a basic draw 1. And in terms of my character, everything is pretty good. We got ourselves at full health. I'm going to keep myself on this side of the trick weapon because I want to be able to utilize this overhead slam very early on. I'm very happy to have the flame sprayer as well. I think these in combination can put some serious damage on. And hopefully with the cards I have in my deck now, it'll add even more to the fray at a faster speed. I'm going to have myself come back in at this lamp location right here, and it's strategic because I plan to head down south to find what I know is going to be the bridge, which will be right here, and that will keep me away from having to deal with any mobs that are going to come as a reset is just around the corner as we start a new round right now. I'm moving the round marker, and this reset is going to ensure that all the non-boss mobs on the map right now are coming off, and we're replenishing all the consumables, and the non-boss mobs go back to their spawn points. So here's how things currently look. And how things look after the reset. Let's go ahead and drop our cards for this new round and see what we're working with. A basic dodge card. We got a basic +1 damage. And we got that swift card, one of the ones we upgraded. Well, you guys all know what's coming next, and that is going to be a tile reveal as we're going to move in here. Now, the question is, I want to keep the dodge for sure, and the swift. We'll probably let this one go for the move. I don't think I have any other way to generate movement, so this would make sense. We'll go like that. And the only tile to reveal right now is going to be the Great Bridge, which is going to slot in right here. As we reveal the Great Bridge and move into it, we have a female patient that greets us the second we show up, as well as a consumable here. It says hunters may not move out of spaces containing enemies while on this tile. And so my movement is essentially dead at this point, but as it says right on the hunt mission, when a hunter ends a move on the Great Bridge after collecting at least 2 insights, which I have, out on the hunt and proven hunter are complete, collected insights, we are going to reveal card 3. The hunt mission says, corpses litter the bridge, massacred, the wounds upon them evident of a hunter axe. These bodies do not bear the signs of the plague, but appear to have been cut down while fleeing. Suddenly you hear a loud crash from across the Great Bridge. A large boulder comes rolling. The card is called Bridge Guards. When this card is revealed and each time ability is flipped by the huntsman's minion, all hunters on the Great Bridge must dodge at a slow speed or suffer 3 damage. Place an insight token on this card, additional 1 if 3 or more hunters, not the case here. When the hunter mob would be slain, instead remove 1 token and heal all damage from it. Tokens are returned on a reset. So we'll go ahead and place 1 insight on this card. We're now told to spawn a hunter mob and a huntsman's minion on the Great Bridge on the space indicated that we're inside of by the icon instead of the usual enemy. So this enemy will be taken away and they respawn to that space on a reset. It says complete the hunt at the end of the round if no enemies remain on the Great Bridge tiles. So our hunter has a lot to deal with at this moment. And for the huntsman's minion, I have to bring in a card, which will be on the end of the row of enemies, but I have to pick which side it's going to be on, so I'll do so randomly. 1 to 3 will be this side, and a 4 to 6 the opposite side. It is going to be the opposite side. That's going to be this side right here. We 100% need to kill this huntsman's minion as fast as possible because the swings it's going to be coming at us with is going to be terrifying. So I'm going to go ahead and do an attack, an overhead slam for 4 damage. I'm going to be adding Swift to it, thanks to the card I just upgraded with, which is going to be the 5 damage I need, and it's a bit faster. Now it's at a medium speed. And let's find out what the enemy is going to be throwing at us to strategize further, a basic attack. Now the great news is the basic attack of this enemy is a slow speed attack, which means ours having Swift attached to it, when they resolve, ours will go first, which means we're going to throw the damage on it, killing it before it gets a chance to actually hit us. So that means I can hold on to my dodge card for another use. And just like that, that is going to destroy the huntsman's minion that quickly. The huntsman's minion has been destroyed, which is awesome. The card's been removed. Now we just have to deal with the hunter mob that has 4 health. And once we get through that, it will reset to 4 health again after the insight token's taken off. And then we clear this tile. So here's my plan, and hopefully this works out well. This card right here says, may be used to make the following attack. A medium speed, 2 damage stagger, dealing 1 to all other enemies in this space. So that unique item for this scenario comes in very handy. Medium speed, 2 damage attack. The extra damage won't do much because there's nobody else in the space. Let's find out what this hunter mob is doing. Now remember, I still have that dodge in my back pocket if I need it, which is great news, and I love having that. A basic attack is coming at me, and for the hunter mob, that's going to be an axe swing at a medium speed, so the same speed as me, 2 damage. Now, I think it makes sense to play it safe and not be silly. At this point in time, I could take the 2 damage in order to keep the dodge card to make another attack with combo slash and be able to refresh my weapon, all that kind of stuff. But taking damage when you can actually avoid it doesn't make a lot of sense. And remember, if you risk too much, you could get pushed back to the Hunter's Dream. That could push your time up. And as my time is already getting tight, I don't want to entertain that. So I'm going to take the 2 damage that I'm applying to the Hunter mob from the Flame Spire, but I'm also going to definitely go ahead and use this in order to dodge the attack coming at me. So this is going to get cleared immediately, but we don't take any damage whatsoever, and they take 2. And you guessed it, I'm going to go ahead and use my Messenger's Gift right now. So on my turn, non-boss enemies, and this is a non-boss enemy, do not activate after your turn. So we're going to go ahead and just flip that over to say we've used it. So at this point in time, they would normally activate and come after me, but they're not going to be able to. And of course, when activating enemies, you'd always go left to right through all the enemies in the game and activate each of them, but none of them are going to move because they're all too far away anyway. So we're going into the next game round, and we're getting very close to the end. All right, let's draw up our cards and see what we have to work with for this round. We got ourselves, nice, I love it, Swift with a plus on the speed. We got Dodge, love it, that's a great combination, and another Dodge. So right now it's got 2 damage, and it needs 4 to be taken down, so just 2 more damage, and that's going to be enough to take the Insight token off, and it'll heal for 4. Now, I don't want to put 3 damage against it or 4 damage against it, because that's just wasting damage. It's not going to carry over after the heal occurs, so we want to be a little smart about this. The combo slash is perfect for this, plus it refreshes my trick weapon, and I've got an extra dodge to use, so let's use this and hold on to the Swift for later. Let's find out what the enemy is doing to us. It is going to be an ability. Now, you saw the ability card flip moments ago. Remember on the Bridge Guards card, it mentioned if you flip an ability for the Huntsman's minion, then something would happen. Well, that doesn't matter in this case because that Huntsman's minion is not in play and it's not for that character. This is being done for the Hunter mob, so that does not apply. So the ability for the Hunter mob is a Molotov Toss, which is at a slow speed before the Hunter's attack. Move the Hunter mob 1 space away. All Hunters in the space it left must then dodge at 2 or suffer 3 damage. Now, the thing to note around this is it says at a slow speed before the Hunter's attack. Now, something else to be aware of is the fact that I used a dodge card in order to trigger an attack, and the effect, clear the slot, happens the second you place the dodge card in here. So this is actually open yet again for me on the defensive side of the equation. This works out really well. So I know I'm doing a 2 damage attack at medium speed, and the enemy's doing an attack at a slow speed. So mine resolves first for 2 damage, which is going to hit the threshold of 4. So with 4 damage on the Hunter mob, we remove the Insight token in order to heal the Hunter mob. And now it requires 4 more damage to be taken down for good. Now at this point in time, the enemy attack is going to trigger at a slow speed, and it's stated before the Hunter's attack. So if the Hunter's attack actually happened at a slow speed, it would be before the Hunter instead of being resolved at the same time. Wasn't the case here, but right now it is resolving. Move the Hunter mob 1 space away. They're thematically getting ready to throw a Molotov cocktail into the space that they just left. So all Hunters in the space have to use a dodge at medium speed or suffer 3 damage. Well, guess what? I've got a dodge. And the best part about it is it goes into the slot, dodges the attack of the Molotov, and also clears. And that's going to resolve the attack. Now, at this point in time, I still have 1 card remaining. So the question is, do I want to attack right now, or maybe want to set myself up situationally for something better? It is worth mentioning I have the Hunter Torch still, which is going to be great because when this enemy activates in a moment to try to move close to me and attack me, it's actually going to get pushed right back to where it is and suffer a damage. And also, we don't want to forget about the fact that we did choose to attack with the combo slash position. And as it says here on it, after attacking with combo slash, you can transform the weapon for free. So if we want, we could flip this over. I'll take a quick look at the opposite side to see if it makes sense based on the Swift card I have here for the future. And you can see here that could be beneficial if we happen to get another dodge. I think it makes sense being as my 4 damage slot on the other side was full. So we will transform that over. All right, so I'm holding on to my Swift card, and we're going to go ahead now and activate enemies. The only enemy to activate is the one in my space, which is going to move 1 towards me, and the second it does, which it says right here, when a non-boss enemy moves into your space, the enemy stops 1 space away, so it's going to right back to where it was, and suffers a damage. The Hunter's Torch ended up coming in really handy. That does it for the enemy activation, and we go on to the next round of gameplay. You can see we're getting real close to the end. Now, I decided to hold on to the Swift card this time, so we have 1 in hand. We need 2 more, so we'll drop 2 more cards from the deck. We got a basic +1 damage, don't really need that, and a basic draw 1. Let's be smart about this in case something goes sideways. We're going to use a draw one card right now, discarding it in order to move into the same space as the enemy. I've already gone ahead and placed in the card I want to attack with. I'm leaving this one in hand in case this attack goes sideways because I have another potential slot to put another basic slash combination of 3 damage in if something goes weird. And coming over to the enemy, the final card that it has is going to be its special. And the Hunter Mob special is a rifle shot. It is slow, 4 damage, very powerful, but mine is going to trigger first. And mine's actually even at a faster speed than I said. It's not a medium, it's actually at a fast speed, 3 damage attack. So it is definitely going ahead of the Hunter Mob for sure. And that 3 damage is going to be enough to take them down. With those enemies taken out, let's take a look at the card. At the very bottom, it says, complete the hunt at the end of the round if no enemies remain on the Great Bridge. So the crazy thing about this is that you have to wait until the end of the round to check this. I'm going to stop right there for my turn. Enemies activate, but there's no enemies around me to activate. So we do go to the end of the turn right now, where typically we'd be going into a reset for the next round. But we reveal card number 5. Even if the reset occurs, all that's happening is those individuals are going back to their spawns, which has no gameplay impact. So let's check out card 5 and see what it says. It says, Unsettling Suspicious. Distribute 2 consumables and the Carol Rune Moon reward among the hunters. Looking to the sky, you feel the rays of the blood moon casting down upon you, and even you cannot deny the bloodlust. A suspicion continues to grow in your mind, although you wish it didn't. You must locate Gascon. So let's go ahead and pull 2 consumables and see what we have. The first one off the top is going to be Bone Marrow Ash. It says refresh 1 reward card. That's going to come in handy in the future. The next one here says Bold Hunter's Mark. This says teleport your hunter to any of the purple icon spaces. That's a very cool card. I'll show you this one up close as well. And we're also going to get that moon card. And that's going to be this one right here. Let's find out what it says. It says, when you are slain, keep 1 blood echo. It is immediately used when you go to the dream. That is a great one to have. There are so many times during Bloodborne where you get slain and you lose all your blood echoes. This will at least salvage one of them. And that, my friends, wraps up a win in the Growing Madness campaign for chapter number 1. And the game was super tight and tense all the way through, especially in that final portion of the game. Had an absolute blast going through this with you guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this one. Have you played this chapter in the Growing Madness campaign? How did you do? Did you actually pull it off in the first try? Did it take you a couple tries to make it happen? Hopefully this helps you see it in action and helps you see how you can get through the madness. And join me as we dive into chapter number 2 in the future. If you're not part of our Discord channel or the Facebook group, we'd love to have you in either or both of those locations. And also, if you enjoy what I do and want to support me and gain perks like early access and a number of other things I'll be adding in as additional perks in the near future, definitely recommend checking out the join button on the main YouTube page for Rolling Solo. Thanks again for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.